Hello, Mrs. Short here. I wanted to make a video about the clock because I've had several students absent. And when your student's absent, they miss vital information in the classroom that I can't reproduce for them. So that's why I'm making a video. And that way parents, if they don't know how to read an analog clock, they can also learn as well. So this is the sheet that they were given. Every group except group 1 was given a clock that was blank, just like this, and I told them to fill it in. That's the only information I gave them. And some of them wrote like the hands and all that, and if they did do that, I told them to tell me what time it was. So in doing so, I was able to learn like where's their understanding at when it comes to the clock. And so several students didn't know exactly what to do with this page, and other students knew exactly what to do, and they also drew time for me and they told me the time, and so I learned a lot from that assessment. So what I'm going to do is if you do this at home, you can get anything to make a perfect circle. Like a cup, I used my strainer to make this big circle on my board. So you can use whatever you like, or you don't have to use one at all, as long as you get the main information on there. So I did a circle in black, and then I did my tick marks. And the process is I did the top one first, then the bottom one, and then I did the sides, and then I filled in the others. It's not going to be perfect because nothing in life is perfect. So I at least started like this. And then I filled them in, make sure there's 12. And then I'm going to do the hours in blue. Remember, color, we remember more if we use color. And color coding, I do it all the time in the classroom. It helps students remember. So I love doing color coding. And so the first hour is 12. So you'll put 12, and then you'll just go around the clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is already there. And next we'll do the minutes in red. They will see these again later in red, so I'm using red. The minutes are always 0, 0 here, or o'clock, or 60, whichever one. It's both. They mean the same. And then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, or back to 0. So that's the clock, the main thing about the clock, the hours and the minutes and how to read it. Okay, so everything goes by 5s until you get back to 12. And then I wanted to share with you, they'll be working with one of these. And there's a downfall to this one. And I'll show you in a minute what it is. But they can manipulate the hour. The hour hand is the small hand. That's the main thing to remember. Hour hand is the shorter hand. Minute is the long one. And as the minutes tick by, the hour moves. And that's the one thing about this. Since it's paper, it doesn't move on its own. We have to move it. We have to manipulate it. Under the hours on these are flaps. So you just turn it down and you have the minutes. And they're all like that, all the way across or around. So the student can use it as a cheat sheet. It also says under the arms, quarter until. So when they're at 9, some people say it's a quarter until 10 or whatever. Quarter before also means the same thing. Quarter past is at 3. Quarter after is also the same thing at 3. 6 is half past. So half past at 6. I don't know if you could see it before, but quarter until, quarter before is at 9. Quarter past, quarter after at 3. Half past at 6. So it's a good cheat sheet for them while they're learning. So I encourage them to use this in class. They haven't been given it for home yet. It will not fit in the composition notebook. I've already tried. So you'll see that possibly in your child's folder. You also might see these and for practice, so you can practice with your child. Also, if you do not have one of these clocks, this is actually our clock for the classroom. If you do not have one, please get one. They can be real cheap at the store. Also, make sure it has this little wheel above the battery on the back. Because what happens is students will be given a time to find on their clock, right? So say for instance, I asked them to find the time right now. They would know that it's almost 7:30 because the hand is a little past 7 and it's almost on the 6. So they'll know it's 7:30. And what happens is as this minute hand moves, this hour hand moves slower. So when I assess the students and I ask them to do a time that was 7:30 or maybe a quarter till, they realized how the hand moves, the hour hand. One student said that she was doing her work at home because she was practicing, and her adult was like, no, the arm goes here. And she said, no, it goes here, because I think she was doing around this time, 7:50. And she showed her adult how the hand is not on the 7, it's almost on the 8, because it's almost 8 o'clock. So you need to teach your students or your child this at home. So the best way to do that, kids learn visually and hands-on. Let them take the clock. Let them manipulate the little toggle switch. Let them see how the hands move. That's how they'll learn time, by getting to touch it, see it, do it. And so this is a great visual on how to draw those hands. They're going to have to know how to draw the hands. So highly encourage you getting one of these clocks. I wish I had the money to get all the students this clock, because this clock it looks like a toy, but it's a teaching source. And what happens is when you move your minute hand, the other hand automatically moves, and it's not battery operated. So this one, you have to move it yourself, but you don't have to mess with the hour hand, which is the red. It does it on its own. So the kids might see this in the classroom. Yeah, I used the regular clock today, the one I just showed you with the bees all over it. And then also, students need to know that 00 or 12 means o'clock. So if I ask them to find a time, for example, of 7 o'clock, the first thing you want to do are the minutes, which is 00 or o'clock, and then make sure it's a long arm, and then you want to do the hour. Always do the minutes first, because that helps them decide where the hour hand goes. For example, if I wanted a time that said 3:45, I do my minutes first in a long hand, and then my students should know that, okay, it's almost back to 12. So it's not right at 3, it is right before 4, pointing in that direction. So always do the minutes first, and then walk them through it and be like, okay, is it almost 4? If so, the hour hand is almost on 4. Things like that, talk it through with your child. And then always remember to teach them that if it's on 30 or 6, it's 30. So for instance, if you wanted to work on that, you would just have them do times with the word 30 in it. So say that they wake up at 6:30 in the morning, which you will have a little diary, a time diary to do. It's only 4 events, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But say they wake up at 6:30, so I always do the minutes first. And then it's halfway around. The hour is almost half, or it is half. So it's not right on 6, it's in between 6 and 7. So that is how the clock basically works, and you can work with your child on that at home. We will do a lot of practice in the classroom, but if they see you doing it and you showing them, it will stick better. Okay. Also, another thing I had mentioned was the time diary. Groups 2 and 3, the older students, we're doing this in class because I can trust that they can, think of these ideas. But the smaller students, there's a stamp on here. It says, please complete and return. So just 4 events. They don't have to be in order. Do want different times for each one. So you'll write the event. It does not have to be in order. And then you'll do the time and the digital clock. So digital, analog. And you will have to do the arms and for the hour and minute on there. You have to draw it. So you'll see that in your little kiddos for group 1 folder. The other students will do in class together. We already did group 3 today. One thing that you'll see in the folder when we're done with the packet is this. It's called Reading and Recording Time. It's a big introduction, just a slight introduction to time. It's only a piece of what we're using. I have a ton of material on telling time. In this packet, as you can see, the minutes are in red, which is why I did that here. So they'll see it over and over again. If you can keep it consistent and repetitive, they'll learn faster. So it's just matching, drawing the arms. Also, there is called military time, which I know many of you have heard of, using a 24-hour clock. Only groups 2 and 3 will do this, not the little kids. They don't need to know this. You're free to read over it and study it yourself because it will be in the packet on the back end of it. So you might see that in their folder. Another thing I need for parents to do is buy a calendar. Could be a very cheap calendar from Dollar Tree. I just need you to teach your children about the calendar, the month, the year, the order of the days, the spelling of the days. Also, that our month can start on any day. This happens to be a September one, so it starts on Sunday. But I had some students do a May calendar. Group 2 did May. And let's see. This only starts in July. But I had them do a May calendar for this year. I told them what day the first day of the month was on. It was on a Wednesday. This is July, so sorry about that. I don't have the May one. But I looked it up on my phone. And then they had to fill in a blank calendar. It didn't have any information except for it had a line for month, a line for year, and they were labeled that way. And then they had blanks at the top for the days of the week. And then they just had the squares. That's it. And they were supposed to fill it in and also put the order of the 12 months of the year in order on the back of their page. And many could not do that. And several could not do a calendar. So get a cheap calendar. Talk to them about the calendar. Like the seasons. What months are those in? Things like that the kids don't know. When does Christmas come? What month is that? What month is Labor Day? What month is Thanksgiving? Things like that. Talk about your calendar with your child at home, so that way they're not totally confused whenever I assessed them on it. So I know that there are several that are confused. Group 3 did July. Group 1 was not assessed because they're learning the calendar now in the classroom. That's not something that we typically do in math, but it's important. And calendar helps measure time as well. And then, let's see. I think that's all I have for you. Remember, if you have questions, ask. Let me see if I talked about everything. Yeah. So remember that time diary doesn't have to be in any certain order. Just need 4 different times of whatever you guys do during the day with your child. I wouldn't use eat lunch at school. I already know what they do at school. I don't know what they do outside of school. So that's what I was looking for on that assignment if you see it. Also, you might see these pages. So if you have questions, don't forget to email. If your student or child has been absent, make sure they watch this video to help them understand the clock, because they're missing out on a lot of information. We cover a lot of ground in class. I hope you have a great night. See you later.